JD Vance was on Face the Nation and roasted Nick Fuentes and other far-right grifters. Take a look.
Because one of the supremacists who was saying things like this about your family.
Yeah.
Nick Fuentes, an avowed anti-Semite,
Sure.
went after your wife. He had previously dined at Mar-a-Lago with Donald Trump. Does this have any room in your movement, in the MAGA movement?
Of course it doesn't have any room in the MAGA movement, and of course...
You disavow him and this.
And of course Donald Trump has criticized this person. Look, I think the guy's a total loser. Certainly I disavow him, but if you ask me what I care more about, is it a person attacking me personally, or is it government policy that discriminates based on race? That's what I really worry about, is bad government policy that harms people based on their immutable characteristics. Look, a lot of losers are going to attack me and attack my family. I think the proper response to them is to ignore them. Don't feed the trolls, and they largely go away. What I worry much more about is bad government policy, Margaret, because I think it's a bad thing.
Guys, I've said it so many times, but JD Vance is so weird. The way he called out anti-Semitism, he called it an anti-Semite, a loser. He focused on policy is so incredibly weird, especially to the left, because neither of those things, calling out anti-Semitism and talking about policy, are things that the Kamala Harris campaign could possibly dream of. They've never done it. I mean, they're only 3 weeks old, fair enough, but I don't think they're not going to do it for the next 80 days or so before the election. So those two things are literally this is what's really interesting about what JD Vance just said about Nick Fuentes. It's actually, the way he talked about it is actually the antithesis of the Kamala Harris campaign, and I'll explain why. So one, she cannot disavow anti-Semitism in the same way that conservatives will, because JD Vance and Donald Trump have. Like, the right is not the problem. Like, the Republican, let me rephrase that. The Republican Party is not the party that has problems with anti-Semitism, because when anti-Semitism does happen on the right, and yes, it does happen sometimes, Republicans are so quick to disavow it and say, yeah, we don't really want them part of our movement. Democrats are not the same way. Kamala Harris right now cannot do that because a whole wing of her party is about to show up to the DNC and protest because Biden isn't hard enough on Israel, because they would prefer that Hamas gets to genocide Israel without Israel actually firing back. She wants those people to vote for her. That's why she didn't pick Josh Shapiro as a running mate. And if you don't think that's the reason, by the way, here's some statistics for you. Nate Silver, the most accurate pollster in America, ran thousands of simulations and found out that whoever wins Pennsylvania wins 96% of the time in the general election. In other words, Pennsylvania is deciding this thing. If you win Pennsylvania, you win the presidency 96% of the time. He literally ran tens of thousands of simulations. So why then would Kamala Harris not pick a very popular Democrat governor from that state as her running mate? It's the easiest political decision instead. Instead, she chose Tim Walz, who's not in a battleground state and who's a raging radical, who put tampons in boys' bathrooms, who was massively tyrannical during the lockdowns, who lied about his military service. And yeah, he lied. Go check it out. I mean, there's a lot of people out there on the left saying he didn't lie. Yeah, his sergeant said so. Tons of people have come out and said he has. His own staffers have said that. So again, it's not gossip. That is a real thing. The reason why they didn't pick Josh Shapiro is because he's a Jew. That's what it comes down to. The second thing that Vance said that Kamala Harris cannot do is talk about policy. She hasn't done it this whole time. She literally can't take a single question. She hasn't taken a single question from journalists. It's doubly corrupt because Kamala Harris hasn't planned on it. She's never held a press conference. And then, of course, the media have never tried to do it. They've never even asked her a question in passing. He literally said, JD Vance literally said he doesn't care what someone said who said, he didn't care that Fuentes said something about his family. What he was saying, Fuentes literally believes that interracial marriages are evil. And which is, it's offensive. I mean, he's married to an Indian. His kids are Indians. That's offensive, right? And his response, I don't care. I just want to fix the country. That is unfathomable to Nick Fuentes or Kamala Harris actually speaking coherently and talking about policy. Neither of them can even, they can't even think about that because instead they have the vibes. Either the Nick Fuentes vibes, which are not good vibes, by the way, and Kamala Harris vibes, which are, bringing a rapper out to twerk on stage vibes. So obviously I love it when JD Vance goes after the left, but I got to say, I love it when he goes after the far right just as much. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please go down below, comment, like, and subscribe, and watch another video.